So you first read the screenplay. I'm sure you love it. It's for sinners. But now you got to make the movie. What was like your initial thoughts? Like, oh my God, this is going to be the biggest challenge for us.
No, it wasn't the biggest challenge. It was pure excitement because Ryan didn't even know how great the movie was that he'd created. But myself, Ruth Carter, when we started talking, we knew it was going to be huge. So we passed this excitement on with Ryan. And Ryan was sort of, you're kidding. And then we start doing our research and we do a lot of a deep dive, a lot of mood boards, a lot of historical research. So we're completely accurate for the period and representing the time.
And that's interesting because you have to actually create two different periods, 1930s, Jim Crow era, but also vampires.
Right.
So how was blending the two and figuring out how you can navigate that?
I mean, the vampires all occupied the 1930s, so it was that basic character makeup from that period for sharecroppers, workers, but then creating the style of the vampires was really what was so beautiful, which was the way they feasted, the way they ate. I wanted them to be like beasts of the Serengeti. I just didn't want that little bite. I wanted to be devoured. I wanted them to be able to bite anywhere on the body, not just the neck, the whole thing. And then we got the lenses. So that was a huge step.
To me, one of the key scenes is the vampire dance musical.
Yes.
A lot going on.
A lot.
What was the biggest challenge for that sequence?
The heat, the bugs, the perspiration. But when you're fixing your makeup, you're sealing it, you're doing it in layers, and also when you develop products that don't actually react to those conditions, you're pretty good to go. So that was the main thing. We just had to keep reapplying blood, freshening things up. But otherwise, I just want them to be looking as deconstructed as possible, and that is the reality.
The real important, I argue, every scene's important, but if you don't pay off the musical number where you're bringing in all the different musicians throughout time,
yes,
the movie, I think, wouldn't work as well. It really needed that. What was the process of doing that sequence? Because you had so many different characters, different eras, all mixed together.
I mean, that undoubtedly was a very complex and beautiful punctuation, actually, for the movie. And we had certain characters that were scripted. We had Water Sleeves as scripted, but Monkey King was not scripted. So I came up with this idea and asked Ryan, please let's do Monkey King. It's one of my favorite characters in Chinese mythology. So we ended up doing that. Ken Diaz worked doing some tribal makeups for the background, but pretty much, Ruth Carter dominated it and we led from that. But it was such a collaborative effort, everybody pulling together to make it look amazing.
When you first read the screenplay, I'm sure you loved it like all of us, but then you're like, we got to actually make this movie.
Yes. Yes.
What was the biggest, your initial worry or challenge? How are we going to pull this off?
I will say that after reading the script and having the concept meeting with Ryan and understanding his vision, it was go time, which means you got to think quick, you're thinking fast, and just figuring out who is the team that we're going to put together to make this happen. And so once we figured it out, it was full speed ahead. So we just make sure that we had some of the strongest people on our team to make sure to make sure the vision happened.
Yeah, so I came in after filming had already started as a replacement department head, and one of the big challenges for the film was the spirit ancestor scene with the 24 ancestor and future descendants. And so that was a big challenge, but it was great to collaborate with Ryan and Ruth Carter. I tried to work with on Black Panther, and that was a big opportunity to bring that, work with them again. And Ruth had done a lot of research before arriving, and she had rows and rows of costumes to go through. So we went through and we collaborated, put these things together. Some of the biggest challenges were the Chinese opera dancer scene and the Monkey King, which Neidhardt had started designing before we got there. And then we added, to the other ancestors, added a iridescent gold shimmer to them that would pop, particularly outside when the fire, when the thing burned up. Yeah. Anyway, that was a big challenge there.
All right, and my other scene I want to talk about, my favorite scene is actually the vampire musical dance number. Because you got vampires at different stages of being vampires.
Yes.
Dancers, musical, but you had to create kind of like a family, which we're not used to seeing with vampires. That they're actually a loving family, not monsters.
Yes.
In that moment. So what was it? What went through that process of doing that scene?
Oh goodness. The process was, I remember just from at first going to all of the dance rehearsals. And when you see everyone before they get dressed up in hair, makeup, and wardrobe, and knowing that these people are about to be vampires. So what does this look like? What does this dance look like? To see all of the different cultures come together, one, and you're doing this Irish dance, that's two. And it was just, to me, it was just so magnificent to see all of it come together. I would say that just being inspired by watching them in that dance rehearsal was the beginning part of trying to understand what is going to happen in this scene, because we know the story, but to see it come together was something else.
So a big part of it was the blood. Now, prior to my arrival, Ryan was concerned that he wanted these vampires bloody looking, and he wanted the blood to read. And when we were filming at night and putting blood on darker surfaces, you needed a blood that would read in that. So we had highs and lows. We had drying blood around the edges, fresh blood in the center, and it was just, we made sure that those attention to details is what Ryan was looking and asking us to make sure that we're there. And Ned had a big part of that too.
Yeah, I took care of Remick and Jack. So he was amazing, first of all, that he had done so much prep getting that dance number down, but also just that whole feeling that he's bringing his culture now into this whole world and this family he's creating and trying to find his people again, through the song and stuff. It was amazing. And his actions were so intense, and he did it over and over again. So the blood continuity, and it was a very animalistic feel that Ryan wanted for all the blood. So he's covered, but it wasn't distracting, I felt.
You love the script because it's awesome.
Yeah.
But you got to make the movie. What were the challenges? Let's start with the big vampire dance scene, because that seemed to be a huge challenge.
That unfortunately wasn't part of us, but we were on set for that.
It was. Because
Wait, oh really?
we had to get all of our vampires ready for the first time together that night, actually.
Oh my God, you're absolutely right. Thank you
It
for
was the
reminding me.
first time that we had every single vampire playing at the same time that night, and with little time in between our first scene and our second scene, we had to get everybody ready in like an hour or less, and for everybody to switch into their vampire looks. It was a heavy feat. And they had the song playing non-stop. They were practicing their lyrics for the song the whole time we were working.
Yeah.
And the energy was
know
great,
what?
but it felt chaotic.
And it was hard because Jack was doing the high kicks and we had prosthetics under the legs, so it was really difficult to keep up with that during the entire time he was doing the high kicks.
Usually you do these films and you do the repeat song over and over and over, and you're like, oh my God, at the end. I was like, the whole night, I was really into it. So I was
Then for you, what was the most challenging center scenes to pull off?
Probably the vampire burning scene.
Ending.
Because
the
we only
remix.
had 2 sunrises. Originally, they had scheduled it for only 1 sunrise, which we know is about an hour and a half of time with the real sun. So they got us 2 sunrises to do that makeup, which took a lot of different steps and a lot of different levels of burning to create that look. And just with the time constraints that we had, it was no easy feat.
They'd break us away and they were like, okay, you got 20 minutes, what can you do? And we're like,
And they had blood effects and smoke effects and like 4 different levels of burns within that 5-minute scene you see on camera. It was a lot. That was the hardest one to do just because of the time constraints with the sunrise.
Fighting against the sun,
We have a lot of students that have watched our show, so we'd like to end with you. A question for you. What do you recommend students to do, young students who want to get in the industry, how to break in?
Oh, practice. Go home and just put shit on your face. Just keep making monsters, drawing, sculpting, anything you do at home, just keep going.
don't be afraid to mess up.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, that's the process, mess up. You got to mess up a lot, and you get there.
Half the time of makeup effects is making it up.
Okay, so when you first read the script of Sinners, what was your like, oh my God, this is going to be hard to pull off? What was your biggest like initial challenging thing you were worried about?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I first read the script, it was amazing because you love these characters so much right from the very beginning, and then almost everyone goes through a transformation. So your heart really goes out to them. It's such a crazy arc of a story, but then how are we going to transform almost this entire cast?
One of the scenes I would assume was the biggest challenge was the kind of like when the vampire dance scene, when they're all singing and dancing, you had different vampires in different stages. Was that one of the challenging scenes for you?
It was, yeah, because of all the people. But I have to say that was probably my favorite night of filming. We shot the entire thing in one night. I had no idea that Jack O'Connell had those dance moves. And it was unbelievably fun. It was a night where it felt like everyone really came together, and there was a massive applause as the sun came up and we finished shooting it.
I was especially struck by the scene, the long scene with the old blind man, because you had to develop, the character was growing and developing emotionally and physically. What were the challenges like growing the character from the original dark side of him to more the lighter side?
Well, it was actually the opposite way, wasn't it? He was very much a baby in the first half of the movie. He wasn't dark at first, he was innocent. You know, it was only after like the hunters and stuff had abused him that he physically fought back and reacted like any animal would. So it was a nice progression because what we did it in stages. We designed that very obviously the bald version was the baby, and then we had like the teenage version where his hair was going out, and then the full adult with the long hair, more matured hair. And at that point, part of it was, you know, he'd become so abused by the world, his colours and his skin got darker and tougher. And then at the very final scene, when he finally realizes that he is going to live and he should want to live, you know, due to Victor's encouragement, he embraces his son, and then we went back to nice pastel colours all over again to get him back to youth again. You know?
It starts on the son too when he's first awakened.
That's right.
Victor first teaches him son, and then it ends on the son.
And it ends on the son too. So it's back to his colours again.
It does seem rare that often you don't get to develop a character, especially a monster. A monster is usually a monster. What was the process of working with Jacob, though, to kind of create the look, make him comfortable, and also find the look perfect for him?
Well, Jacob came in very late to the game. I mean, we'd started work on another actor for 8 months, and then Jacob came in and we only had a few weeks. But Jacob's persona, because people want to talk about Jacob's physique, how he's physically perfect for playing 6'5". Yes, he was, and we understand that as artists. But also Jacob's soul came through. So once I met him and we talked to him, and Meg and I tried to wig on him and teeth and stuff, then I had to sculpt his face after meeting him. So then I knew his soul. I thought I knew the man I was putting the makeup on, which alters the design somewhat. So no, Jacob Elordi, you know, for me, made this movie. He was fantastic.
Does that help you knowing that his eyes could tell everything?
Oh, of course. He doesn't have to say anything. He just look and his soul comes through it.
Movie,
That's how he truly is. He had such a love, a respect, and a sense of reverence for the project. He knew, he understood the assignment, and he passed it with flying colors.
He really wanted to do this part, you know. Guillermo told him the makeup was going to take so long to do. You have to treat it as a sacrament and become this creature. You have to go through this abuse almost to become. And Jacob took him at his word. And again, in over 56 applications, sometimes 10 hours a day, that young man never complained once. He's a consummate professional.
Now, can you confirm the truth, though? That's how Jacob looks in real life? As a Frank, and you really didn't have to do much. You had to make him more look nice for the red carpets. Is that true or false?
Actually, Matt, even though Meg and I, we molded up Jacob and we made him up every day. Every morning when that young man walked in the trailer, it was kind of a shock because we spent all the time with the creature and not with the actor.
Oh boy, yeah.
So even at the end of the night, once he stepped out of the steam room and he's all cleaned up, we were like, who is this guy?
So young.
So used to the creature. Yeah, it was always a shock.
We saw him more as Adam than as himself.
You read the script of Frankenstein. Guillermo has a lot of very specific ideas. What was your biggest challenge when you thought, how am I going to pull this off?
You know what, I've been working with Guillermo for like a number of films now. We've almost got a shorthand now. He's brought this team together of people that he's curated to understand the way he works and what he wants to see. So it was quite straightforward. The biggest challenge is working with the cast members and working through what they wanted to do with their characters. It was an incredible experience, and I'm so grateful for it.
Now, Oscar Isaac goes through a big transformation throughout the movie, declines, obviously. How did you approach his look to change as he became more evil and aggressive and darker?
Well, funnily enough, the way a movie is shot, we started off with that look. Coincidentally, because of weather and some extreme circumstances, so we actually established that right off the bat. So it was actually a matter of working backward and taking Oscar back to his handsome self.
And then Mia Goth was beautiful in the film. What was the project look for her and working with her to create her look?
My biggest influence for Mia's look for Elizabeth came from working with Kate Hawley, our costume designer. Her inspiration was very very 70s and rock and roll in terms of her fabrics that she was choosing and the designs for things. So I leaned really heavily into the Heba influence from the 70s. A lot of the makeup that we did for all the women in the show had to read under veils, and that was also another big influence. So everything was sort of heightened and dramatic and sort of operatic.
So when you first read the script, I'm sure you loved it. But what was your oh my God, how are we going to pull this scene off or this character off?
That's almost every character with Guillermo. I think it was just the weather, the exteriors, and a lot of them have transitions in their looks. And I think we're up against the weather in Canada sometimes with the snow and the rain.
I think one of the most critical sequences is in the farmhouse with the old man and the blind man, because that's where Jacob character grows, and you have the blind and the great characters. What was the process of kind of evolving the looks throughout that sequence?
Well, Mike Hill did the creature and did everything with the creature. The blind man, David Bradley, had a wig on and very specialized makeup by Jordan, and so he wore his wig every day. And the hunters all wore wigs as well, the men.
Yeah, the men wore wigs, but everything else, whatever we could do manually, in the real hair, so we actually did it on a day.
We had a lot of Hungarian folk images.
Eastern European, the kind of folks from 19th century.
My favorite scene is the wedding scene. Well, the near wedding scene, like to say. What were the challenges doing the look for the wedding? Mia, Oscar, and the guests?
I remember the guests being in the estate that we were filming in, and there's real candles because Guillermo likes everything real. So you see all these flames, and then you see all the women with all their veils and wigs and costumes and crowded, but it was very beautiful.
Guillermo likes everything practical, and so the chandeliers above in the wedding were real candles. So we were picking wax out of all the wigs at the end of the night.
Okay, one battle after another. Beautiful film. Let's talk a little about the process. You have two different time frames.
Yeah.
And characters in much different spaces. We'll start with Leo. How did you approach Leo's transformation into the good-looking movie star we see at the beginning and the disheveled, lost guy at the end?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a process because it was supposed to be just kind of done in CGI. And so we fought the good fight with Leo and creating the two different looks, and it was actually quite challenging because we have a director that doesn't want to wait for actors in makeup and hair. So he got kind of semi-permanent hair extensions for the longer hair, so we didn't have to do it every morning. And we shaved him, and we the schedule was allowed for us to shoot him first with a beard on, and then have him shave. Then we had some time off, and then he grew a beard again. So it was challenging, but it was a lot of fun, and we are happy that CGI didn't take over.
And now, I felt the scene where Leo and Chase are first together was the most important scene in the movie, establishing their relationship and their looks. What was the process of creating Chase and Leo's look in that scene?
I mean, I think that's all about acting, isn't it? You know, that cohesive, you know, thing, and you know, I don't think it really had anything to do with us, even though I would like to think so.
Now, Sean Penn's look had a lot to do with different hair looks to do. What was the process of creating Sean Penn?
Yeah.
Kind of like him getting into the trailer and sitting in her chair and just like slowly just sinking into his character, you know. That was it.
And he goes through a big transformation by the end of the film. What were the challenges for him at the end?
Yeah, Ariane Tuitian did that makeup and created that. We did a lot of research on, I didn't know like people actually survive being shot in the face. So I started like pulling some research and it was quite daunting looking at all these photos, but and then we hired Ariane and he kind of took it over and took it from there.
So you read the script of Burgonia. You love it, but you actually have to make the movie. What was your initial biggest worry or challenge?
I think the biggest concern I had was just like how would Emma Stone be being kidnapped and doing a kidnapping movie. So obviously, like what I'm handing over to the director is like to have great performance. I need to make sure that she is at the right mindset for everything, and kidnapping movie is not something that we do a lot. So I don't know like how is the actress in a basement tied up all day, bare, shaved head, white lotion on her. So it's kind of hard to like find out that fine line how to be with Emma Stone. And then with Jessie, like different characters require different actions. So it's more like that what I was worrying about, not about like, oh, we're shaving her head, how are we going to do this? We're shaving her head, it's going, with clippers. So that was pretty easy.
Well, she had a lot of distinctive looks. Like at the beginning of the movie, she's a high-powered professional woman, but she's a little off. Like you can tell there's something wrong. Then obviously the kidnapping. So how did you approach creating an original look, trying to show a character that's high-powered, but there's something off with her?
I think it's like a lot of scripted notes that you're like, when you read a script as a hair and makeup artist, you're just reading into like all these like little notes, like what needs to be done, what should be done. You're talking to the costume department, you're talking to the director, you know the actress. It's like, I know Emma Stone now for 11 years, so we go a little further back, so it's kind of like, it's nice to collaborate with everyone, and you just put this puzzle spiel like together, and that's how you build the character.
Yeah, speaking of that, because Emma actually has to get her head shaved, which is a big thing. But in the end, you think your relationship with her made that easier, where you guys could collaborate and figure out her look? Because it was a difficult look.
It was a difficult look, but it shaved off time in the mornings to get her ready because we didn't have to do hair. So for an actress, every morning when you come into the trailer and you need 7 minutes to get ready, like you get along so much better versus like other movies where it's like, 7 hours of hair and makeup, 5 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours. Like we got it down to like 14 minutes on some days, so that's great.
I really like Jesse Plemons' look because he's off too. He's a character that's a little off. How did you approach developing his look to kind of show, because we're not sure who he is, so you got to make him a little ambiguous?
Jesse kind of came with like a short crew cut, and when we had Aiden as a character, and Aiden has this amazing hair, so I kind of like talked to Yorgos, talked to Jesse, how about if like Jesse has also, like Jesse's character also has long hair. So that's how we came up with all these micro extensions. So he was a little bit more time on maintenance and getting him ready than Emma. And that's kind of fun in the morning too, that like now Jesse Plemons takes a little longer than like what Emma takes. So it's kind of good. It was funny, so it was great.
All right, so you read the script of Marty Supreme.
Yeah.
You love it, but you actually got to make the movie. What for you was when you thought the script you think was going to be the biggest challenge from the start?
I think all the ping pong tournaments, because in the script you see that he's drenched in sweat. He's really like playing hard, and so you're like, how are we going to, for continuity purposes, match. And everything's shot out of sequence, so it's like, oh, day one, we're already making him sweaty. I hope this matches up when we film the scenes before this on like day 52, you know? It was a big puzzle, but it all fit together beautifully in the end.
Now, Timothy is a movie star, but he plays a character that's kind of dark, the underbelly of New York City, so to speak. How did you kind of like almost mess him up a bit, you know, to break his look?
Well, Kira Panchenko and Mike Fontaine did a really wonderful job with his makeup. They gave him pop marks, acne scars, a unibrow. They gave him contacts to offset his eyes. And for the hair, Kay Giorgio, our department head, worked closely with Josh Safdie, and I was there as well. And together we created this, it's based off of Marty Mauser. So we created his look off of that, gave him a tight fade, a 50s period look, and then we did it as it called for the script.
So I'm sure you love the script, but you have to make the movie. What was like after the excitement of the script was done? What were your biggest worries or challenges you thinking to pull this off?
The size of the project, really, wasn't it? And doing two films together, because sometimes we'd be on film 1 in the morning and film 2 in the afternoon. Laura ran all the crowd, the big, massive scenes with hundreds of munchkins and
munchkins, Emerald City.
Yeah.
So huge hairstyles. So that was quite challenging, the hairstyles, to keep it in place during like huge choreography. So.
Yeah, and speaking of that, since you have Cynthia, who looks different in Wicked 1, obviously, and of course at the end, because you become a darker character. So how do you handle that? How do you handle, like, from scene to scene, from hour to hour, your character's in a completely different spot, emotionally and also makeup and hair-wise?
So it was very subtle work, as I think people see, because they aged only from 19 to 22 or 23. It wasn't like they got old, but you had to give them maturity was what we were looking for within the principles. And I think it worked very well, particularly for Cynthia and Ari, that change, that grown-up look from one film to the other. But some days we'd do all the different looks all in the one day, so it was quite challenging and time-consuming.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was more your side of it, sort of like moving on, but it was just a lot more grown up, the second film, and so we did do the hairstyles were still very grand, very sculptural, huge cages and things like that. But I think we just made things just a little bit more mature in the second film.
And our last question. A big challenge, I assume, is Scarecrow and Tin Man.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure on that because you want to honor the original, but it has to be modern. What was the process of creating those?
I did it along with Mark Coulier, who put on the prosthetics as well, and Stephen Murphy, who's here too. It was a wonderful challenge because it was not into the iconic look, but also making it original and also timeless. So it was, and we didn't have it on so many days that we could take the time we needed. So it was a 4-hour process on each man. But it was also to keep Jonathan looking beautiful, so you could believe that Cynthia loved him, and leaving even that place to show all that emotion, even though they're all covered in prosthetics, and to keep it looking metal. So it was a huge challenge for those, but I think very successful. Yeah.
We had such a huge team of people, and we wouldn't be here without them. So just wanted to say thank you ever so much to them, like hundreds of makeup, hair, and prosthetic artists.
Yeah.
So just wanted to say thank you to them.
Stranger Things, has it come out yet? I haven't heard. No, teasing.
People still waiting for the last episode.
So you read the finale. I'm sure you loved it, but you actually have to make it. What for you, when your initial reactions, like, this is gonna be difficult to pull off?
Yes and no. I mean, we've been doing this show for 10 years, right? So I think they have hit us with some pretty hard stuff on all the different seasons. Every year kind of has like gotten to a new level, but there was nothing that I didn't expect to happen in this season. Like, they're always getting wet, they're always underwater, they're always in a desert. There's always like, a lot of wigs involved to kind of pull it off. I think one of the hardest things about doing Stranger Things, the last episode, was just that we had so many units going on at the same time. And then the prep work that goes into getting all of that ready, making sure that all the wigs are in the right trailers when they're going to 4 different directions in the morning.
Now, obviously, the show, the kids have grown in the show. They've changed their looks and styles. How was it, though, finally ending all their journeys and their final looks?
It's emotional because it's obviously kids that I know very well. One of them is getting married tonight, which is, I don't know if I should say that. That's probably not for me to say. But yeah, it's wild to have seen them grow up. It just means so much more to you. Like I always say I have my own kids and then I have my Stranger Things kids. Sometimes my kids get a little jealous for the hours I spent with the other kids. We're just like humongous. It's been beautiful. It's been beautiful to get to design for characters going through these huge, groundbreaking things in life that we all go through when we go through puberties and all the feelings and showing how the awkward side of that, the reality of what that looks like and feel like when we are experimenting with our looks, searching for ourselves. And a television show just give you time that you can like dig into it in a different way than when I have done movies. So yeah, it felt very special.
So I'm sure you love the script, obviously, but you have to make the show. So when you first initially read your first script, what was your biggest challenge or concern?
Well, all of the scripts have a script within the script and another script within that script. So it's very meta. So we have what's on the page, but then we'll also have they're walking through the lot and there's cowboys, a guy with a hatchet in his head for no reason, things that you'll see on the studio lot. And then there's a movie that we're also shooting that would be part of the Golden Globes or part of a trailer. So it's sort of 3 levels of figuring out, even though it's contemporary, like where are we living for this episode?
And the best part of that too is that we get to have opportunities to hire as many people as we can. I remember day one we were thinking like, this is so awesome. There's so many background artists, so many background actors, and we just were the first job after the strike. So we wanted to come back and just employ as many people as you could, and you did that. So thank you to all of the artists that helped us out on the studio.
It became a very well-oiled machine, bringing people in and all the artistry collaborating amongst each other. It really was exciting to work on this.
Thanks.
We're missing Georgie Douglas, who's our department head, and Robin, who will be here later. But on behalf of them, they wanted to say thank you and congratulations to all the nominees.
Excited about coming aboard for Sabrina Carpenter. What was your biggest challenge, like what we had to do for the project?
Well, we had a lot of moving parts. We had tons of guest stars, a bunch of dancers, band, and she, of course, was there with her makeup artist, and it was fantastic. We had some amazing designs to execute, and I think the biggest challenge was probably the timing because we did it in 2 days. Yeah, live special.
So that doesn't give you much time.
No, it does not.
And for you, what was your favorite? Then what was your favorite character to work on then?
I can't choose a favorite, but of course Sabrina is such a superstar. We all love her so much. She's such a hard worker, an amazing person.
She really is.
Obviously talented and beautiful. So it was just like a real honor to be a part of the whole project. And obviously her makeup artist Carolina is incredible as well.
And I would say that Sean Astin as Santa Claus was a very fun challenge for us all to tackle together.
Yeah. And all of Sabrina's dancers, they actually went on tour with her right after, and they were amazing and just so chill and calm and just ready for anything and rolled with the punches, and they were great fun.
So for you, when you first came on board, what was it that attracted you to the project for each of you?
Honestly, these two.
Yeah.
Yes. We all wanted to work together, do something creative, something fun. The producers are amazing. And we knew it would be a good show, especially with the crew, the cast.
I feel like once we met the cast, we saw the characters perfectly and matched. And doing their hair to even do that, it's like how effortlessly it was to just do it for them.
And for me, I worked with Kristen before, and getting the opportunity to work with her again was just a dream. She's lovely to work with, and I get to work with really awesome people every day, and there's no question.
What's all of that? So for Kristen, since you've done so much work with her, what was the process developing a new character with her and a new look?
You know, it stemmed a lot from our show creator and kind of like tapping into what kind of like her vibe is and transforming Kristen in that way to like California cool girl, which wasn't so hard. I mean, she is cool.
And what about Justine for you?
Justine, I just love how effortlessly her blowouts are every single day. The way I do her hair and just blows and how she just plays with it, but it somehow comes back together. It's just so effortlessly and just love it. It's perfect for her.
And for you, what was your favorite character makeup so far?
I love doing Tim. Yes, he's fun. He's great. He makes me laugh every single day. And he always wants to change his style.
Okay, one of the things I love, Janine, her character has evolved throughout the seasons, but also her look then had to grow with her character. What's been the process developing the look with the character?
See, as a hairstylist, we always want to make the hair the best of the best of the best. But when it comes to doing development and developing characters, you have to be able to tell the story through hair. Because the character might have their one way of thinking it, and if it's not written in the episode, then you're just going to get lost in the sauce. So I had to approach this show like, okay, how can we as a hair department stand out by telling the story through hair? What is the mindset when she gets up? Is she really going to feel like throwing her hair together when she got to save the day at the school? And then what's her love life look like? Like all of these major moments happen every single season, and now season 4, she's comfortable in herself. She has her new boyfriend, and everything is kind of mellowing itself out. And you get to see that with her hair as well as other characters.
So it must be a unique experience getting to work with the actress and writer to help develop that look.
Absolutely. When the scripts come to us, come to me, what I end up doing is not only do I break it down, but I actually go into the psyche of it. And that's where being a licensed cosmetologist comes into play, because you look at these people as potential clients and how is their everyday life? What products would they use if they're on their own or if they're doing it on their own, so that it can be believable to the audience and believable to the person sitting there watching from home.
Janine, one of the things I love about her, as her character is growing, emotionally and physically, how has it been kind of developing her different look as the character is evolving herself?
Honestly, it has been a blast. I get to talk to Quinta all the time and see exactly where she sees it, and then I speak to her, and then we come to a happy medium. And so each time there's an elevation where you see her sophistication comes out, her confidence comes out, and then it's just like, oh, she's coming into her own, and the makeup plays a huge part in that, because remember in season 1, she barely wore anything. So now she's got lashes, she has eyeliner, she's doing a little blush, like she's coming out and it's like, oh, I'm here, I'm taking up space.
So was there a particular episode, anything really favorite this past season that you're like, oh, this scene I really liked, this was kind of a big challenge or fun?
Honestly, Halloween was fun because she was a screen, and I was like, how do I make a screen come alive as a makeup artist? And it was just like the clean makeup and then a cut crease and then just letting her skin shine through. So
Naked Gun.
Yes.
All right, so you want to honor the original and kind of looks like the original, but you got to make it modern. What was the biggest challenge for you?
The biggest challenge for making the Naked Gun the modern vibe was all the wigs and all the hair gags. We had tons of hair gags on this show, and it was actually challenging, but it was very rewarding as well.
And how was it making Pamela Anderson, the biggest glam star of that decade?
Pamela was amazing to work with. She was amazing to work with. Me and my key, we worked with her, just doing her hair looks, her wig looks, and blow dry looks, and she just was amazing to work with.
You have to honor the original, but you also have to make it a little more modern. So for you, what was the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge was we had a lot of hair hacks in there, and that was really a challenge. But finding the balance between, like you said, honoring the old Naked Gun and the new one, and still making it fresh and still being innovative with all the pulling the rifle out of the wig was the hardest thing, but it was so much fun to even, be a part of that and to do that. It was just a great project to be on.
How cool was working with Pamela Anderson?
Pamela Anderson is the best. She is so much fun. She is a great, great person, and she's serious about her craft. She was with everything that all the hacks we had. She was so ready to do everything. She's like, let me have it. What do I need to do? So she was definitely like very hands-on with all of the action that we had.
So when you first read the script, what was your gut initial reaction to Black Phone 2?
I was shocked. Like, my jaw was dropped to the floor at every page. And when I first read it with my parents. And so we were all just like freaking out over everything.
Now, what was your biggest concern going into the look you wanted for the character?
I mean, I think there's always a lot of concerns, especially when a character's returning and after a few years. But I literally had the best hair and makeup team on set. Like, they were literally amazing. Whenever I was like not shooting a scene, I was always just hanging out in the trailer with them. And I had to wear a wig for the first time, so that was like my biggest concern, I guess. I was really scared. But Nathan, my amazing hairstylist, made me feel so beautiful and so comfortable and confident. So yeah, it was definitely a big change for me, but I got used to it really fast.
All right, hosting, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
What was your prep process like?
You know, honestly, it doesn't feel like a lot of pressure because these are people that have been of service to me for over 20 years that have made me look incredible or awful as needed, and it feels like such an honor to get to host and celebrate them tonight. You know, so it just feels like so much joy and I have nothing but tremendous love and respect for every single one of the nominees and the people that, just their crews and everything.
We do have a lot of students in the audience who are thinking about going into makeup and hair as a thing. What for you as an actor do you want out of a makeup artist? What kind of collaboration do you want? Because you're really the first person they see in the morning.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think the first thing that I like to remember, as a, you know, if you've made it to that place where you're the person at the chair, right, that's doing the makeup, you've got the job, you know what you're doing. So I think a lot of times for me, it's more about as an actor that I have to understand that it is a collaborative art, but it's their time to do their art, right? If they walked up to me and started asking me about my day while cameras were rolling, or what they were doing with their life, or a bad breakup, or with their kids, it would be hard. So we have to remind ourselves that this is their space to create their work, and it's okay for them to say, you need to just like calm down and let me do my work. So yeah, I think that it's just a gift to trust your art, be as creative as possible, and I think you listen to the artist, to the actor that you're working with, but at the same time you can kind of tell when they're starting to spiral, and you need to gently be able to say, I got you. I'm going to make you look good. And like, we're going to make sure we get it right so you're comfortable.
Promising Young Woman is one of my favorite films. And Carey Mulligan goes through a lot of changes in the movie. What was the biggest challenge for you arcing her character and her changes from the look?
You know, it was actually so much fun doing it for me. I can't even say it was a challenge, but I can say the one challenge was that, you know, we were a tight shoot. We shot in a very short period of time, so the changes were very quick. And some, you know, we don't shoot movies in order. So I always tell people, you know, we're not shooting in order, so you're changing back and forth sometimes very fast. That was probably my most challenging thing to deal with on that.
Well, the thing about her, she had to look beautiful to attract the men, but she was also, as a character, off.
Yeah.
You could tell there's something wrong.
Yeah.
How did you make her character a little off? Because she is beautiful, but off.
I always tried to make it look like she did the makeup herself. I wanted to make sure that it didn't look like it had been done. So I left little imperfections to make sure that it looked like, and then as she got darker, the makeup got darker looking.
Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, of course. What was the most fun bit you guys did, or style look you had to do in this past season?
I would say RFK. Right? Yeah. We have an amazing guy that does him, Will, and he's a caricature. He's like a puppet, so it's fun. It's fun to do a lot of his prosthetics and be a team with him. And
And for you, what is the challenge like? Because you don't have a lot of time. It's a night show, so it's not like you have weeks and weeks of prep and you're kind of preparing. So how do you approach it when you have no time?
We literally watch rehearsal, and then if we get some kind of note, we run out to the makeup store and come back and have to, like literally, what, an hour?
Sometimes, yeah.
An hour and a half.
Yes, yeah.
It's
She
all
keeps
hands
it
on
cool
deck.
for us, actually. That's true.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
But as an artist, though, it sounds great because you have to stretch. You got to do things you're not used to doing, and you kind of learn a lot probably about the craft by doing things at the last minute in different styles.
Sometimes we pull off things that we did in old school ways, you know, and just make it work, whatever it is. We have to do it and do a good job and do our best. Yeah, that's it.
So then let's talk about, when did you know you wanted to get into the makeup?
I was a little kid, kind of. It fascinated me. I had insomnia, so I'd stay up late and watch all the monster movies, and I'd be the only one awake. And they kind of scared me. I was 4 and 5 years old when I wanted to find out how they did all this stuff. But I've been an artist all my life, and I studied to be a cartoon animator. But I come from the suburbs of Chicago. I come from Lyons, Illinois, which is a little suburb outside of Chicago. And I came out here about 50 years ago to become a makeup artist. I got sidetracked, and so that's how I became a makeup artist versus a cartoon animator. So, and when I was a little kid, I wrote a letter to Walt Disney when I was 8 years old. And I got a reply back from his secretary telling me all about, different books I should get, and thank you for sending the photos and drawings and everything else. And thought I might become a cartoon animator because in Chicago, couldn't do this type of work. But as I got older and got into Planet of the Apes and of course that era, I got kind of sidetracked a little bit. So I thought, well, let me see if I can do this. So I did.
Wizards of Waverly Place. How exciting was it to be able to come back, revisit the show after so many years?
Amazing. I mean, our show, the cast, the crew, the producers, everybody, it's an amazing show. It feels like a family. It has already a built-in following, but then we also have new characters that are kind of reaching out to other, new fans. So it's actually been a blessing, and we have such a great time doing it. It's creative, it's fun. Koji's our effects artist, so he does some really cool stuff.
So many fun stuff. It was so enjoyable show to work with.
All right, how was it to come back to Selena now years later, Selena Gomez?
She's an angel. She's amazing. She's kind. She's the most down-to-earth person, and it's her baby. So she actually takes such pride and care, and is so good with the actors and so good with the new actors, and just it was seamless. And her and David Henry have this relationship and this sister-brother bonds that has never been broken. So it's been a dream come true to be on that show.
Yeah, agree.
But now you have to do it in a grown-up look, though. You have to change her look.
Yes.
What was the challenge for changing the way she looked?
I mean, she's pretty timeless. I don't think she's changed much, so it's not like, we all age a little bit, but honestly, she's an anomaly. She just literally looks as good as she did before. She's just maybe more mature in her actions, and her things are more intentional now. She's not as carefree as Alex once was. She's has a little bit higher stakes in the game, and same with David. So as far as their looks, they still look exactly the same, which is wild. But it's more of their actions at this point.